Ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages. If you follow basketball, you know Chilltown Hoops.
So this is really good right here. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls all over the world. Y'all know what time it is when y'all see me. It is Chilltown Hoops. Here we talk pro basketball, the good, the bad, the indifferent. We don't waste any time. We get right to it. You know, the NBA season is upon us. And with it being upon us, I think it's great that we have a situation. What I mean when I say that is, like, I think we got a lot of teams that I think that there's a bunch of different teams that people could say, yo, this team is a contender, this team is a contender. But who are we sleeping on? That's what I want to know, right? Who are we? Which team? What are the teams that we're looking at that we're not paying any attention to them? And with us not paying any attention to them, they're going to sneak up on us, right? Like last year, there was this overwhelming consensus that Oklahoma City was going to take the next step. And I wasn't on the fence about that. I felt like Oklahoma City was there. I thought that they would get to the NBA championship. I thought that they would lose to the Celtics in the finals, right? That's of all the teams, I thought the Celtics would lose. I mean, I thought the Oklahoma City Thunder, old school, relax, brother, old school, relax. Because if you really want the smoke, you can come up here. Why you in the chat running your mouth? If you really want the smoke, I'll put the link in the chat right now. You can come up here and come get it. There you go. If you really want it, like if you really like that, there you go right there. Because if you want to run your mouth, like you could really come up here and we could do it right now. Because whatever it is that you want to get off your chest, we could do it right now. Right now, we could get to the bottom of it. Right now. So with that being said, I thought that the Oklahoma City Thunder would take the next step. I didn't think that they win the NBA championship. I did think that they were there, though. Right? I thought that they were there. I thought this year was the year that they were going to do it. I thought that the Cavs were a year away. I thought that the Cavs would be in the NBA championship against Oklahoma City this season. That's who I thought it was going to be. With that being said, right? With that being said, it was obvious that Oklahoma City, with some fortune, right? With some breaks, they 100% got what they were looking for, no doubt. And with them getting that, they were able to get past Denver. They were able to get past Indiana, which everybody, including myself, I had that Indiana series ending in 5 games. I didn't see them getting past 5 games. Instead, it went 7 games, and it was a 7-game dogfight, right? With it being a 7-game dogfight, I think that we're in a space now where there's some teams that we're not talking about, because I wasn't talking about Indiana last year. I'd be sitting up here lying to you if I said I was talking about. I'd be lying to you if I said, yo, I was talking about Indiana in the NBA championship last season. Because no, I wasn't. I was not. I didn't think they'd get by Milwaukee in round 1. I thought Giannis would destroy them, which leads me into why I'm thinking about the contender logic in the NBA. Like, who's good enough to win the NBA championship? Who's good enough to get there? And who do you think is close, right? Who do you think is close, but they ain't there yet? And who do you think everybody thinks that they're there, but they ain't close yet? Because I had this theory, and I've always felt like this when it comes to teams that get swept. I've always felt like that, and maybe I'm in the minority, and I probably am like reaching here when I say this, that I always felt like when you get swept, I always felt like that. I always felt like when you get swept, no matter if it's in the first round or it's in the NBA championship, I always felt like when you get swept out of the playoffs, if a team mops you out of the playoffs, you ain't close to winning it. You're not close. We got a lot of work to do. If we getting swept out of the playoffs, yeah, we're not close to winning it. I don't care if we do it in round 1 if we do it in the East Final, if it happens in round one, if it happens in the West Finals, if it happens in the NBA championship. If you get swept out of the playoffs, like a team mops you 4 straight, we ain't close to doing it. We're not. We got a lot of work to do. And I'm thinking to myself, right? I'm thinking, get this old school dude out of my chat. Listen, old school, come up here. How about that? The link is in the chat. You really want to come? Like, if you really want to do all of this between the chat, it's real easy to do that. Come up here and say your piece. That's how we can get to the bottom of that. That's how we could get to the bottom of however you feel about the Denver Nuggets. That's how we get to the bottom of it. So get out the chat and come up here and get to the bottom of whatever it is that you need to get to the bottom of. Anyway, like I was saying, I feel like when you get swept out of the playoffs, you're finished in terms of you contending. Like we have to get some level of continuity, because whatever we're doing, it's not working. To get swept out of the playoffs, yeah, we're not close to winning it. So when I think about these teams in the Eastern Conference, like when I think about these teams in the Eastern Conference, I'm thinking to myself, all right, well, who in the Eastern Conference do I think could win the NBA championship? There's only one team, and that's Cleveland. I'm not on the fence about that. I'm not thinking maybe. I'm not thinking possibly. I think it's Cleveland. Now, could the Knicks win it? Maybe. Could Orlando win it? I don't think Orlando's there yet. Atlanta is one of those teams that I'm thinking to myself, they could get bounced in the first. They are like what Dallas was 2 years ago. Like, they could get bounced in round one, or we could end up seeing them in the NBA championship, because they got that kind of crew where they could get hot at the right time. Some injury bugs can end up hitting the team. And then the next thing you know, right? Then the next thing you know, here we are. Like John said, like I think this is interesting where John said, East ain't winning no chip. Just so you know, John, 3 of the last, 6 NBA champions. So 2019, 2020, 2020, 21. So say 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. Of the last 6 NBA champions, 3 of them have come out the Eastern Conference. Just so we clear, my man. 3 of them have come out the Eastern Conference. That's Toronto, Milwaukee, and the Celtics. So chill out on the whole East ain't winning no championship. You're in that space of people who still think the Eastern Conference is what it was 15 years ago, when only one dude from the Eastern Conference was making the All-Pro team. Like, you still think that the Eastern Conference is going on like that. It's not. That's not what the Eastern Conference is anymore. No, the Eastern Conference is a lot more difficult than you think it is. Just like me, you thought that the Oklahoma City Thunder were going to mop the Indiana Pacers in the NBA championship. I didn't have that series going past 5 games. I'd be lying if I said I did. I did not have that series going past 5 games. Meanwhile, what ends up happening? They in a 7-game dogfight, right? They in a 7-game dogfight. So here we are. The East is a lot tougher than you think it is. Like this dude says to me, so that means that the West won more championships. Okay, even if let's just say for the sake of argument that they won 1 more championship. That doesn't mean that the East isn't winning any, because they have won it. That's the point. That's definitely a point. And again, you still live. There's no reason to talk to you about the East and the West, because you still live in 2015. That's where you live. You still live in 2012. You still live in 2013. That's where you live. So there's no reason for me to talk to you about that. But I want to talk about what I want to talk about is I want to talk about what teams are legit contenders. And when I think about a contender, right? When I think about a contender, I think about a team. I think about different levels of teams. So you got a playoff contender, you got a championship contender. Like, I got playoff contenders. Like, I think Miami is a playoff contender. I think they're going to make the playoffs. I think the Chicago Bulls could make the playoffs. If I'm looking at the landscape of the Eastern Conference, if I'm looking at the landscape of the Western Conference, there's probably 9 teams that could make, there's probably 9, 10 teams that could make the playoffs, even if we didn't have a play-in tournament, right? Even if we didn't have a play-in tournament, there's still 9, 10 teams who are playoff contenders. And then you got championship contenders. Like, these are the teams that I think not only could get to the NBA championship, I think they could win it. In the East, I won't, even though I think that the Cavs are going to win it, I can't just downplay what's going on in the Eastern Conference anymore. After what I saw last year with the Pacers, when they were in that dogfight with Oklahoma City, they essentially did not allow Oklahoma City to take them out of how they play. How did Indiana play? Indiana is a lot tougher than I thought that they were. Way tougher than I thought they were. They play fast. Pascal Siakam is one of the best transition players in the game today. I don't know if there's 5 transition players in the game better than Pascal Siakam. I don't give him enough credit for being 6'9". But when I bring up Indiana, I'm thinking to myself, all right, how did this team end up in a dogfight with Oklahoma City? Is it because everybody thought that Oklahoma City was just going to mop them and Oklahoma City let off the gas? No. I thought that Nembhard did as good a job as he could possibly do on SGA. I think he made it difficult on him. I think he kept his touches limited. I think he kept him off balance in terms of his scoring. I think he kept him out of rhythm, which is something that was difficult to do, right? I think it's something that was difficult to do for other teams. I mean, SGA has the unique ability to when he gets going, it's almost impossible to stop him. I mean, he led the league in 20, 30, 40, and 50-point games. He's their bucket getter. That's who he is for them. All right. So if that's true, how do we slow that down? I thought Nembhard did a great job in keeping the ball away from him. And whenever he got the ball, crowding him, forcing him to his weak hand. And while forcing him to his weak hand, putting him in uncomfortable situations while he's driving with his weak hand to pull up quicker than he wants to, because I thought Nembhard was beating him to spots, and it worked. I mean, the series ended up going 7 games. I thought Miles Turner could have played better, but I say all of that to say all of this happened with the Indiana Pacers not really being a legit contender before the playoffs started, even though from January 1 up into the playoffs, they had the best team in the league. They were the best team in the league from January 1. There wasn't a team in the league better than them, record-wise. I didn't realize how hard-nosed that they were, how tough they were. And I think that they embody what the Eastern Conference is. The Eastern Conference isn't as weak as it used to be. I mean, 3 of the 5 guys that were first-team All-Pro in the 24-25 season come from the Eastern Conference. That's Jason Tatum, that's Giannis, and that's Donovan Mitchell. That's 60% of the 5. 3 of the 5 guys from the Eastern Conference. The East isn't as weak as it used to be. It's not. So which teams do I think are legit playoff contenders? So obviously, I think the Cavs are a legit playoff contender. Legit. Obviously, I think that the Knicks are a legit playoff contender. Legit. I think that the Orlando Magic, maybe I'm in the minority because I think that we kind of overrate them a little bit. I think that they're a team that could get bounced in. I think they can win a playoff series, but I got people talking to me about Orlando's in the East Finals. I don't think they're there yet. I think they're getting close. I do. I think that they're getting close. I don't think they're there yet, though. Nah. I have to see that improvement from Paolo. I think I'm going to see it, right? I do think that I'm going to see it. I just don't think it's right now, right? That's what I think. That's where I think we all suck. Peace, God. I don't think it's right now. I think we're getting close, though. I think we're at a point with Orlando where we're knocking on that door. I think that they win. I think they can win a playoff series. If they end up in that 3 spot, if they end up having to see Detroit in the first round, I think Milwaukee will get them hell. I think Milwaukee would give Orlando hell. Contrary to what you guys may think when you look at that roster and you look at what Orlando has and Milwaukee has in terms of talent, I think that they will give Orlando hell. And I'm not on the fence about that. I think KPJ is a lot better than you guys give him credit for. I think Gary Trent Jr. is one of the smarter players. He plays within himself. I love that about him. Doc is trying to get Kuz. Doc is trying to get Kuz on the same page with the rest of the crew. I know that there's a lot of people who think Kuz isn't very good. I'm not one of those people. I think that we could dumb down what he does, and I think that he could play within his role, and I think he could be better. I think if we could get him back to what he was doing when he was playing with the Lakers, I think that he'd be really productive for them. I think Giannis could have what may be an MVP, another MVP level season. I'm looking at anywhere between 29 to 32 a game. I'm looking at between 10 to 13 rebounds a game and 5 or 6 assists. If this team that they have, I don't like the fact that Giannis has to do that much, but right, I don't like the fact that Giannis has to do that much, but the fact that he does what he does within that system, and don't get me wrong, they rely on him heavily, but the fact that he does what he does and he does it so effortlessly, I love that about him. Love that about him. So with that being said, I'm not saying that they would win, but if Orlando were to see Milwaukee in round 1 in that 3-6 matchup, I think Milwaukee would give them hell. I think that's a 6-7 game dogfight. I think that's a knockdown, drag out 6-7 game dogfight. And Orlando may be better than them from a talent standpoint. But I think that Milwaukee would give them everything that they're looking for. I think that they would be great on the glass. I think Giannis would basically have his way with their front court. I don't think Paolo, at the age that he is at right now, I don't think he wants anything to do with Giannis. I don't. But I think Giannis at 30 years old, I mean, he turns 31 in December. Giannis, we're still in prime Giannis years. Still, we're in prime Giannis years. It's KPJ. That's their point guard, Kevin Porter Jr. I still think we're in prime Giannis years. We might still be in peak Giannis years, and I might be able to get, like, the last 3 years. I feel like I might be able to get another one of those years, right? I feel like I might be able to get another one of those years, but I think with this team, adding Miles Turner was a big deal. So I think that they would give Orlando hell. I think that Orlando is a contender because I think that their defense is going to be one of the best defenses in the league. It's always been like that with them, and I'm not surprised at that at all. Having Jalen Suggs is one of the best defensive guards in the game. I'd like to see him score it a little bit more. I would 100% like to see him score it a little bit more, because in today's NBA, let's be clear about what today's NBA is. You guys know how I feel about guys like John Stockton and Mark Price, right? Guys like Jason Kidd, that if you're going to be an elite lead guard in today's game and you're going to take a team deep into the playoffs, your lead guard has to be able to score. And he doesn't have to average 30. No, he doesn't have to average 25 a game, but 13, 14 a game. If we go in deep into the playoffs, that's not enough. That is not enough. I need you to consistently be a downhill threat, a guy who can stretch the defense, a guy who can knock down a mid-range shot, who can knock down a pull-up shot in transition, who can consistently keep defenses off balance. I'm not sure if Suggs can do that consistently. And that's where I'm at with them as a legit contender, as a legit championship contender. I think they're a playoff contender. But to win the whole thing, I'm not sure if Suggs can score it well enough in order for them to win it. And I still think Paolo is a little ways away. I'm on record saying I think Paolo is, when I get Paolo at his best, like when I'm talking about peak Paolo, I think that I'm looking at a 29 to 32 a game, 10 rebound, 5, like what Giannis is doing, even though it's going to look different. I think I'm looking at a 30 and 10. I think I'm looking at a 30, 10, and 6 Paolo when he's at his best. I think he's that good. Now, the question is, is now the question is can he stay healthy? Because what I've seen in the playoffs over the last couple of years, the injury bug bit teams, but Oklahoma City, for example, they got bit early and they were able to overcome those injuries. Chet, who I thought Chet was going to be out for the season. I didn't think Chet was going to be in the lineup considering how long he had been out. I thought we were going to lose him for the season. And when you lose a defender, a shot blocker, a rim protector, a rebounder like that, I'm like, how can Oklahoma City win the NBA championship? Only except they get him back in February and he gets ramped up for the playoffs and he actually looks really good. And don't get me wrong, he has some bonehead plays. You saw what he did against Denver in game 7. I'm sorry, not game 7. I want to say game 4. Yeah, in game 4. When Denver ended up stealing that game from them. Was it game 4? No. It was I think it was game 2. Yeah. When Aaron Gordon ended up hitting that 3 because he missed those free throws. It happens, right? It definitely happens. So with that being said, right? With that being said, the injury bug hit them early. They were able to overcome that. Was it game 1, Rich? My fault. I thought it was game 2. You know what, Rich? You're right, because in game 2, didn't they beat Denver by like 40, something like that? You know, straight bad information. I want to say in game 2, they ended up beating them by like 40 in game 2. So I think you're right, Rich. I know it was one of those 2 games. It was in Denver where it was in Oklahoma City where Chet ended up at the free throw line. He missed those free throws and they get the ball. Denver gets the ball back and Aaron Gordon knocks down that 3 to win the game. And it's a wrap for them. With that being said, the injury bug, right? The injury bug for this team, for each of these teams, Oklahoma City was able to overcome it early. Orlando wasn't able to overcome that. Like by the time they got Paolo back, like Paolo was still working himself back into where he was. He was still working himself back into what he used to be. He wasn't that anymore. Unfortunately, they ran into a juggernaut in the Celtics in round 1. That was the downside. If Paolo plays way more games, they may be able to get a higher seed instead of them getting the 8 seed. Right? They may be able to get the 6 seed. Excuse me, they may be able to get the 6 seed. And with getting the 6 seed, especially with Paolo playing the way he was playing and Franz playing the way he was playing, they may be able to get the 5 seed. And then they got to see Indiana or Milwaukee in round 1. I think we're looking at something different. So with that being said, the injury bug ends up hitting Oklahoma City. They were able to overcome it. With them being able to overcome it, Orlando also gets hit with the injury bug early. They weren't able to overcome that. Cleveland got hit with the injury bug late. They weren't able to overcome that, unfortunately. The Celtics get hit with the injury bug. Jason Tatum tears up his Achilles. It's a wrap for them. They're over. It's a wrap for that team. Denver gets hit with the injury bug late. They're not able to overcome that. So, I mean, that's essentially what it is if you could say if you can stay the healthiest, that's a part of being lucky. Like a lot of people won't agree, they won't admit the fact that being lucky is better than being good. And being able to stay healthy while these other teams, what up, Straight? While these other teams break down, that part of it means a lot. And if you could do that, yes, sir. Yes, sir. So I think Orlando is a playoff contender. I don't think that they're a championship contender. I don't think that their lead guard scores it enough in order for them to be a legit championship contender. Atlanta, I look at Atlanta like I look at Dallas 2 years ago. Atlanta is a team in the Eastern Conference, barring health issues, because they've shown me, Trey has shown me that You get us in the playoffs, and we will cause and we will cause hell. Get us in the playoffs, and we will be a problem for you. Do not think that we will be an easy out. Get us in the playoffs. Now, I don't think that they're going to win 55, 60 games or something like that. I think that I'm looking at anywhere with the Atlanta Hawks. I think I'm looking at anywhere between 45 to 50 games. I'm looking at a 4 seed for them. Barring any injury issues, this is a team that I look at like Dallas in 24 that went to the NBA championship. This is a team that could get bounced in round 1, or they could get to the NBA championship. I think that they're that good because I love the way that this team is put together. I love it. And I think that this is the most talent that Trey has been around since he's been with the Atlanta Hawks. I don't think that there's another team that he's been on, as that includes that 21 team that he was on that went to the East Finals that had no business beating the Philadelphia 76ers, by the way. They ain't had no business getting by them. Hell no. But with that being said, I love the fact that Dyson Daniels has become who he has become. I love the fact that when they take Trey off the floor and they move Dyson over to the 1, I think he's extremely effective. I didn't give him enough credit as a passer. I didn't give him enough credit as a defender. And the reason why I didn't give him enough credit as a defender is because I was wrapped up in Herb Jones. That's why. More than anybody. I was wrapped up in Herb Jones. And because I was wrapped up in Herb Jones, they got this 6'7" demigod who has got great hands, one of the better on-ball defenders in the game, great at beating guys to spots. He's impossible in the passing lane. You can't take your eyes off him because the minute you take your eyes off him, we're going the other way because he's stealing the ball. He's been fantastic as a defender. So now I got to start paying even more attention to him. This season that just passed, because I was watching the Atlanta Hawks, and I was only watching them for 2 reasons. That's Dyson Daniels, and that's Jalen Johnson. That's the only reason why I watched them. This season, I'm going to be paying more attention to this kid Okongwu. And the fact that they bolstered their roster, we're getting Nickeil Alexander-Walker, that helps. And getting KP, that definitely helps. And KP has told us what was going on in Boston last year with my health. That's not an issue anymore. That's not an issue anymore. So don't worry about that. I don't know what it was. I can't tell you exactly what it was, but what I do know is that's not an issue anymore. I feel great. My body feels great, even though KP has been very injury prone, very much so. Like he'll roll an ankle and he'll be out for a month. That's what KP is, and I don't think that that's news to anybody. So if Atlanta can stay away from the injury bug and they can stay relatively healthy for the season, I think that they could get deep in the playoffs. I definitely think that they could go far in the playoffs. I definitely think they're a playoff contender. Can they win the NBA championship? That remains to be seen. Detroit, I don't think that they're there yet. I think that Detroit is a playoff contender. Yes, I do. Do I think that they're an NBA champion contender? No, I don't think they're that good yet. I think that this season I'm going to see improvement from Jalen Duren. I'd like to see him be able to finish better around the bucket. The thing that I'm looking for from him, which I did see last year, I saw some improvement on the defensive end. He wasn't fouling as much as he was the year before. He still fell into the trap of dumb fouls from time to time, but it wasn't as much as it was the year before that. That tells me that that's improvement. The fact that they get Jaden Ivey back, I think that's a big deal. I was on record before the beginning of the 24-25 season saying that I thought that both Cade Cunningham and Jaden Ivey were one of the most dynamic young backcourts in the game, and we're going to be talking about them like we talked about Dame and C.J. McCollum, like we talked about Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan, right? Like we talked about John Wall and Bradley Beal. Like we talked about teams, like we talked about backcourts like that. We're going to be talking about these two guys like that. But then he ended up going down with that injury because him and Cole Anthony got tangled up, and he ended up cracking his ankle, and it kind of sunk his season. But he was doing really well. he was doing really well. I like how he picked up his ability to screen navigate. I thought that was really impressive from him. I thought he's a smart kid too, and I really like that about him. I like how he comes off screens and he looks for a shot. He's not one of these guys that's coming off screens that's unsure of what he's doing. I like how he comes off screens and he's looking for a shot. I love the fact that Cade is a better athlete than I gave him credit for. I love that. I love how wrong I was. I thought he was a good athlete. I didn't realize he was that good. Not only did I not realize he was that good, I didn't realize how good he was finishing around the rim with both hands. Not with just one hand, with both hands. I didn't realize that, particularly with his weak hand. I thought that he was really good doing that. Guys like Isaiah Stewart, we are definitely in a different series if he doesn't hurt his knee last season when they played against the Knicks. They needed that dirty work guy. They 100% needed him. 100% needed him. And I felt like, is that me? Oh boy. Excuse me for a second. I apologize. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I apologize. Where were we? We were talking about the Detroit Pistons and how much better, right? We were talking about the Detroit Pistons and how much better that bench has gotten with bagging both Duncan Robinson and Karis LeVert. That's a big deal for them. No doubt about that. That is a huge deal for them. And with that being said, right? With that being said, like I said, I didn't give Cade enough credit for how good he was around the rim with both hands. I don't think he was that good in the playoffs, but I think that him getting that exposure, right? I think him getting that exposure, and I think him seeing what the playoffs look like, I think that he now knows what exactly the playoffs look like, and he knows what to work on, and I think that that's going to help him, right? So with that being said, right? With that being said, I'm sorry. Here we go. With that being said, I expect him to come back better next season. I expect his jump shot to be better. I expect his drive game to be better. I expect his pull-up game to be better because he's seen it. He knows what it looks like. And I love that about him. I've never been one of these dudes that has been on the fence about when you got the best player in the conference. Now, I've never been one of those people that when you got the best player in the conference, you're a playoff team. And when you get in the playoffs, when you got the best player in the conference, I don't think it's a question of whether or not you got a chance. depending on where you are, I don't think it's a question of whether or not you have a chance. And I'm looking at this Milwaukee team, and I think that they're going to be a lot better than you guys give them credit for, off the strength of how good Giannis is. Right? Off the strength of how good Giannis is, I think this Milwaukee team is going to be a lot better than what you give them credit for. The fact that they've added a stretch big in Miles Turner, who I'm not a big fan of, but I look at him, he gives me a younger Brook Lopez vibe. Like, he can stretch the defense. He will block some shots. Doesn't rebound as much. And Brook Lopez was never a great rebounder either, which always bothered me about him, that he was never a great rebounder. With that being said, right? With that being said, this kid, Miles Turner, he gives them a dynamic that they didn't have last year. Younger, more athletic, could guard on the perimeter, can stretch the defense, will finish around the rim. I think that gives them something that they didn't have last year. Let's be honest. If they still had Dame on the roster and they didn't make this move, they're not better. They are not better than what they were last year. The fact that they got Dame off the roster, sent him back to Portland, and was able to bag Miles Turner in the process, this team is much better. This team is much better than what they were last year. Then I got Bobby Portis in the rotation. I got Green in the rotation. Right? I got Tayshaun Prince in the rotation. I got guys who can stretch the defense. In addition to stretching the defense, I got dirty work guys in Bobby Portis. I got the lead guard coming off the bench. I got Cole Anthony. I think this team's going to be a lot better than y'all give them credit for. A lot better. And with that being said, I think they're a bona fide playoff team. I think they're a contender. I don't think we got action with Milwaukee winning it. And I know how you guys feel about Kevin Porter Jr. I know how you guys feel about him, but I'm on record saying it. Everywhere he's played, he's either been a starter or he's playing meaningful minutes. That's who he is. Everywhere he's played, he's either started or he's playing meaningful minutes. You know what that tells me? That tells me that this kid is a baller. That tells me that this kid can play. And if I got a guy like that on my roster, I don't feel like I got to find minutes for him. He's going to make sure that he gets minutes. And I don't have to worry about that. So, but I do want to hear from you guys, though. I do. What up?
What's up, Onk? I don't know if you've seen the reports earlier, but Ja, he pretty much twisted his ankle in an off-season workout. Well, not an off-season, but like a workout recently. Yeah, in practice. I wanted to ask you, do you think after this year, or maybe by the time the trade deadline hits in February, do you think Memphis looks at a possible Ja Morant or Triple J trade? And which one out of the two?
I wouldn't be surprised if they moved off of Ja. I would not be at all. And the reason why is, one, Ja has proven over the years that his stability has been in question. Like, he can't stay healthy. Right. Whether it's in the playoffs, whether it's in the regular season, he has shown that he can't stay healthy. So he's got two after this season, he's got 2 more years on the books. No right. Player option, no team option. So I wouldn't be surprised if they ended up, let's say that Memphis is in the, because I don't think they're making the playoffs this year. I got Memphis on the outside looking at it. Right. That's how good I think the Western Conference is. So I would not be surprised if they're below 500 or they're hovering around like 7 and the 9 seed at the trade deadline, and Ja's in and out of the lineup. I wouldn't be surprised if they entertain trade talks with him.
What's the most they could get for him in a trade package?
The most that they could get, well, it depends on which team we're looking for. I think that Memphis team, I think that what we're looking for more than anything, we're looking for draft picks and we're looking for young talent. So I think that Ja's going to go for at least 3 ones. At least. He's going to go for at least 3 ones and some young and some young talent.
I asked that because I know how you feel about what's the name, Danny Ainge in Utah. And I always look at their situation because one, they got 18 first-round picks for the next couple years. And
I
then
think they got
next,
like 40 of them or some goofy shit like that.
something like that. And then I looked at their salary cap this year. They got like $90 million free right now. Just like
Yeah.
the only person that's major on the cap is Lori Marketing. I wanted to ask
He's
you,
signed
is
to a
there
max deal.
any
Yep.
like
Mhm.
is there a star maybe in the East or West that they could make a push for this year? Like, say they come on some shit like, hey, I got 5 first-round picks in Walker Kessler. Do you think anybody will jump on that?
I don't know if it's Walker Kessler, but I don't hate John in Utah with Lori Marketing. I actually like that, to be quite honest with you. And,
Yeah.
and to be honest with you, Ja in Salt Lake City, I think that calms him down. All that wild shit you seen with him going on, that wouldn't be going on in Utah. Mm-mm.
No, nah.
He'd be a lot less wild. He'd be way calmer if he was in Utah, because it's not really that much to do there, even today in 2025. So I don't hate him with Lori Marketing. I don't hate him. I'm not sure that Walker Kessler is. We might have to get another team involved. So I'm not sure if Walker Kessler is the guy that they would be targeting, because I think that they straighten their front court. Because I
Right.
think that with Jaren Jackson and Zach Edey, I don't think that they're looking for another big. I think that they would be looking for something to compensate for Ja. And I don't think that they're looking for draft picks so they can start over. No, because I think that they're building that thing around, if they're moving off of Ja, they're building that thing around Zach Edey and Jaren Jackson, right? So with them already moving off of Desmond Bane, so that means that they've lost their backcourt. Both Ja and Desmond are gone.
Yeah.
Okay, we got to shore that up. And I think that their point guard, just like with the Trailblazers, I'm sorry, with the Miami Heat, I think their point guard is in the draft.
Mm.
Yep.
And last question. Looking at Atlanta, let's say just looking at Atlanta over the years, they usually start off slow, and then like February, March, they start winning a lot of games to at least get a good position in the play-in tournament. Do you think that Atlanta, being as though they didn't offer him that contract this offseason, maybe they'll look at some trade options for Trey in February?
They're not letting Trey walk out the front door for nothing. That's not happening. And I think that it's a sticky situation to be in. The reason why I say that is because if your star, I mean, LeBron James wrote the blueprint. If you're coming back into the season in the last year of your deal and we don't have you inked moving forward, I'm trading him, because I'm not going to lose him for nothing. I'm not. It's not happening. So if I got Trey Young and we're at the trade deadline and we're the number 3 seed, we're the number 4 seed, I'm entertaining all phone calls. 100% I am, because I'm not losing him for nothing. He's not walking out the front door, and I'm not getting nothing for him. I'm not. Even if the case is he wants to be in Atlanta, even if that's true that he wants to be in Atlanta, I can't risk that. I can't risk that. And I think that I think it's bad business when you have your star in a contract year. We get to the end and you're hoping that he resigns with you. Nah, nope. If I don't get him inked by the time the season starts, especially if he tells me that he's not interested in talking extension during the season, definitely out. I'm definitely out. I'm out. Yep.
Appreciate it, dog.
Yes, sir. I'm definitely out. I do not do that. No, not me. When I get my star player, right? When I get my star player who tells me that he's not interested in signing, if we don't get a contract signed by the start of the season, and he says he won't negotiate during the season, yes, I'm moving him. 100% I'm moving him. I'm out. Because what I'm not trying to hear is I'm not trying to hear us left holding the bag. James already proved that. James showed me that in 2010. These guys will walk out the front door and you will get nothing in return. Nothing. So because of that, nah, we got to get a deal done with Trey. And if he doesn't want to negotiate throughout the course of the season, yes, I'm definitely looking to move off of him, because he ain't walking out the front door for nothing with me. Nah, I'm not trying to hear that. That's bad business. That is terrible business. I think that Atlanta, Detroit at the 6th seed, Then it gets tricky, and because I think that Milwaukee is a playoff. I think they're a playoff contender. I don't think that they're a championship contender. I don't think that they're that good. I'd be blown away if Giannis took this team to the NBA championship. I would be blown away. That's not to say that this crew is whack, because I do think that they have some talent. I'd be blown away if he took this team to the NBA championship. So hold on for a second. What up?
Who are we trading? Where are we trading Trey to though? Chill. If we can't ink this kid, who's calling up, picking up the phone and like, hey, I want Trae Young.
Oh, I can get something for him. I know. Let's be clear. I got a guy who leads the league in assists. I got a guy who's been efficient at that. He's one of the better scoring guards in the league. A team that needs a point guard. Miami needs a point guard. There's a bunch of different teams that need a lead guard, and they are a lead guard like Trae Young away from challenging for the championship. If I look at the landscape of the NBA, I think Cleveland is straight with their lead guard. I think Boston is straight. I don't think that they would be interested. Yeah, I think y'all straight. And the reason why I feel like y'all straight is because the way that your offense is predicated, you don't need Trae Young. That's why you got Jason Tatum. That's why you got Derek White. That's why you got Pritchard. You don't need Trae Young. There's no reason to have him. Indiana, they straight with their point guard situation. For him to be in a place like Milwaukee, for him to be in a place like Orlando, I mean, I think that Orlando.
Wouldn't this just be a Dame in Milwaukee if Trae went to Milwaukee? Wouldn't this kind of be like a similar situation?
No. One, I think Dame was much more of a score first guard. As much as Trae Young is a scoring guard, he's definitely a better passer, more aware, more willing passer than Dame. He gets everybody else involved in the offense way more. So I would definitely. It's a different dynamic between Dame and Trae Young. We're talking about
an even bigger defensive liability, though. That's the problem.
But here's the difference. The difference is that he'd be an even better distributor, which means that we get everybody else involved. So our offense would be so much better with him as opposed to with Dame. As much of a bucket getter as Dame is, Giannis playing off of Trae Young would be way different than Dame playing off of Trae Young. Way different. So
you think Trae? Who do you think is better playing off ball, off Giannis, like Trae or Dame?
Well, I don't think Trae would play off Giannis. I think Giannis would play off Trae, and I think
so.
That's
It'd be
where
that okay.
Offset at. I think that's where it got offset with Dame. I don't think Giannis is the best screener, but I think Trae would get him involved in other ways because I think Trae's got the ability to get downhill, so he would find Giannis in much better situations than what Dame would do because I just think he's a more willing and better passer than Trae Young. So I think that helps out tremendously. Miami is a team that would have no problem bagging Trae Young. I think he could help them.
Any Western Conference teams?
I love Trae in Phoenix with Devin Booker. I love him in Phoenix because I think Devin Booker.
This would be a repeat of it'd be like Chris Paul without the defense. It'd be like that. It'd be we can move D Book back to the 2, put Trae at the 1, and then boom, we're right back to where we used to be at. It's just that we don't get the defense.
I don't hate it. And you put the pieces around him because you got guys like Mark Williams, a rim protector. You got Dylan. You might have to give up Dylan Brooks, but I don't know what the trade looks like. But Trae is in a situation where him being in a contract year, there's a lot of teams I feel like that won't be interested off the strength of him not re-signing with them. Like if he gets traded to Brooklyn, I don't see him going back to Brooklyn. So like they wouldn't be interested in giving up like 4-1s for Trae Young. Nah, why the hell are we doing that? Because we're gonna end up losing him, and we're gonna end up losing him in the postseason. I love him in Minnesota with Anthony Edwards. I love him up there. I think he'd be fantastic with Anthony Edwards up there, especially with the defense that they have. They got plenty of defense to protect him.
Plenty of defense to protect him. I feel like Trae would work best on a defensive-oriented team.
Yes, so
a heavy perimeter defensive-oriented team.
Those are a couple of teams that I'm thinking about off the top of my head that I think could really help. So, we'll see. We'll definitely see.
I got one more question for you, Chill, and this is the main question I wanted to ask you is like, what's going on with this Golden State Warrior team, Chill? You think they're making any noise? any trade. Like I feel like there's no way they don't end up trading Steph eventually.
I thought that was going to be last year, and it was actually going to happen if they didn't end up getting Jimmy Butler, because I didn't think that they was going to make the playoffs. I thought they were going to be bad, and I felt like Steph was going to demand a trade. I saw him on the bench in tears. This just wasn't working. It wasn't. Now you add Jimmy Butler, who, I mean, this team is long in the tooth. It's going to look good early. I can tell you that right now. It's going to look good early. Yeah, it's going to look great early. Jay, when you talk to people about the goal, wait till December. Wait till we get into like the middle of November. You're gonna hear
Curry,
all the. I'm telling you, that's exactly what you're gonna hear. Curry's the league MVP. He's a top 5 player. I'm telling you, but wait till we get to January and it starts to, and we get into the dog days of the season, and they drop 6 out of 10. And they drop 6 out of 10, and then they end up falling in the play-in tournament, and this team doesn't look like they used to. It's going to get real tricky for this team, and I think that I'm not blown away with what's going on in Golden State right now.
You think Steph eventually demands a trade? Do you think Steph demands a trade eventually? Because there's no way like this. Not this year. How many? Isn't he 35?
No, he'll be 38 in March.
Okay, yeah. So if he doesn't request a trade this year, he lives and dies as a Golden State Warrior then.
Yeah. Not this year. I don't think he demands a trade. But I'll tell you one thing, though. If they miss the playoffs, which I think they're going to miss the playoffs, this roster gets completely shaken up next season.
You think so? They blow this whole dynamite to the building type business? Thing gets,
well, what are we still holding on to? I mean, you still got Steph Curry, and I know that you're still trying to build around him, right? I know you're still trying to build around him and keep this team competitive. Curry is getting older by the minute, right? So you saw what happened last year in the playoffs, why he broke down. He didn't break down because he's injury prone. He broke down because he's old. That's why.
So just cash him in now.
Right.
Look for any contender. I mean, chill. Any contender right now for a championship team should be dialing up the Golden State Warriors and checking their temperature on Steph.
What do you think Steph Curry's going to cost, though? He's on the books for like $62 million for the next 2 or 3 years.
That's why I said any team that's looking to win now, like a win now team would definitely pull the trigger on that.
But think about what you got to give up though to get Steph Curry. Like think about what you would have to give up to get Steph Curry. Like if you Houston and you wanted Curry on your roster, what you think you'd have to give up to get him? I can tell you where Houston. I can tell you where we start at. I can tell you that we start the conversation. It starts and stops with Sengun. We'll start there. So if all I think
before the KD trade, they had something even better. Prior to the KD trade, because they traded for KD now. I mean, before KD showed up, I think you have a conversation for a legit trade. But now that they got KD, I don't think they need Steph.
Right. But
I'm trying to think. It's a team
of the teams in the Western Conference, like the Clippers. Like if he were to end up in Los Angeles, what do you think that they would have to give up to get him?
A haul for him. Half the roster's gone.
Yes. And are we winning with James Harden, Steph Curry, and whatever's left? Because I can tell you right now, if I'm Golden State, I want Zubac. If Zubac ain't in this trade, no deal. If Zubac is not in this trade,
you're going to kill me for this team, chill. Indiana?
He doesn't make them contenders. Not today, he doesn't.
For a championship with Steph and Halliburton? Working off of Hallie?
Don't forget, Hallie's out for the season.
Damn.
Don't forget that. Yeah, Hallie's out for the season. So, all right, brother. Good to talk to you.
All right, chill. You have a good one, chill.
Yes, sir. What up?
Yeah, this is a loaded question. Is it too late to ask you? Remember last time I pulled up and I was asked you about Oscar Robertson?
Yep.
And his impact. So I wanted to ask you, do you know the scenario on why the bird rights went into effect in the first place? I mean, I'm honestly, I'm the student right now. You know what I'm saying? I'll be pulling up with stuff that I don't know, but I figure you do know. So that's why I like to ask you these questions. What happened for the bird rights to go into effect in the first place?
So Red Auerbach found a loophole in the collective bargaining agreement. He wanted to pay his players because Larry Bird was becoming a free agent and they had the salary cap. Okay. He wanted to be able to pay his players whatever he wanted, and it didn't affect the salary cap. And he found a loophole in the collective bargaining agreement that would allow that. And that's where the bird rights came in. So he ends up paying Larry Bird. It was like $4 million, and it didn't affect the salary cap as much because he didn't want to lose Larry Bird. And Larry Bird didn't want to play anywhere else. So he wanted to be able to go over the salary cap without having to worry about it affecting the salary cap, if that makes any sense. So it did make a lot of sense, and I could definitely get with that. Why if I got this guy that's on my team for the last 7-8 years, why do I have to contend with this team or this team in terms of I should be able to pay him whatever I want to pay him, and it not affect my salary cap because I raised them, and that's exactly what happened. So he ended up getting what's called the bird rights. And I love it.
So the bird rights is when you draft a player and they there for more than 4 years. Is that right?
No, the bird rights are when you draft a player. I don't know if it's 4 years. I think it's a little bit longer than that. But I know when you draft a player and you've had him for an extended period of time. I'm not sure that it's 4 years, but I'm confident that it's an extended period of time. And that period of time, when you have his bird rights, I can pay him, and the way the collective bargaining agreement is today, as long as it doesn't count for more than 35% of the salary cap, I could go over.
Okay. Nah, thank you for that, Chill. I appreciate you, for real.
Absolutely. No doubt. You know,
all right. Thanks, Chill.
Yep. What up?
What up, Chill?
What up?
What up, my man? I just wanted to discuss a couple things, you know.
What up?
What's up, Chill?
Yep, I heard you. What's up? What's going
on? I actually agree with you on the Warriors. You know, I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. I think depth, size, and experience. I just don't think the Warriors are going to make the playoffs either. Especially
when I say that, right? When I say that, is it the Steph Curry effect? Is that
I think it might be. I think it might be Steph. I think the Steph, Jimmy, Draymond. I still think people are holding on to the Warriors. You know,
because we don't do that with any other team that's old, right?
I know.
So Jimmy Butler just turned 36 last month.
Yeah,
he turned 36 years old. Steph Curry will be 38 when the playoffs start. Draymond Green just turned 36. We don't do that with nobody else. Nobody.
I know.
If it's any other team and you was like, yo, this is the core. They just got Al Horford. Al Horford to be 40. Now all of a sudden, this team is winning the NBA championship. Like, we don't do that with nobody else. Is it the Steph Curry effect?
I think it might just be Steph because the only team in NBA history I remember with that type of expectations that was older was the Brooklyn Nets in 2014 with Kevin Garnett, who was 37, Paul Pierce, who was 36. No other team in NBA history I remember was like this old ass supporting cast, and now they're expected to go far, especially in a star-studded West. I mean, we're talking about the Thunder, the Nuggets, the Lakers, the Rockets, the Clippers, the Spurs. I mean, it's the Mavericks, the Grizzlies,
Dallas. I mean,
Timberwolves.
The Western Conference is loaded.
It's stacked. I think I got them finishing 9th. I think the Grizzlies will be 10th. The play-in will be interesting. Maybe they can make it to the 7th or 8th. Maybe the Warriors can make it to the 8th seed off the play-in. But I just don't see the Warriors getting in, especially because we might have Jimmy miss some games. We might have Horford miss some games, and I just don't feel
it's not a might about it, King. If you look at the way that this roster is constructed, right?
You
look at the way if you look at the way this roster is constructed, and you look at the way the Western Conference is constructed, how many games is it going to take to get in the playoffs? I ain't even talking about the play-in tournament. Yeah. Let's just talk about the playoffs. How many games is it going to take to get in the playoffs? So
I'd say 45 to 48.
Memphis won. Yeah. Memphis got in at the 8th seed. They won 48 games last year.
48 games.
Golden State won 48 games. In order for us to get into the playoffs, we're going to have to win at minimum 48 to 50 games.
Yeah.
So you know what that means? That means that Jimmy Butler, Steph, Dre, let's see, Al Horford. These dudes are going to have to play on the regular. Like, ain't going to be a lot of nights off.
At least 50, 60 games.
You asking a lot from an old guy like that.
It is. A lot. I think we could expect Steph to maybe play 60 games, but that's pretty much it, man.
Well, I think he played 70 games last year. Yeah, I think he played 70 games last year. And I mean, I don't think it's ridiculous to think that I could get Steph to play that many, but I mean, I can promise you, Jimmy Butler ain't giving you more than 60
I agree.
games.
Jimmy Butler at this point, no way.
He's not. Jimmy Butler's not. I'll be blown away if Jimmy Butler gave you 65 games.
Yeah, no, if he does that, I actually got the Warriors being 7th or 8th in the West. If Jimmy Butler does that, man.
If Jimmy Butler could give me 65 games, shit. To be honest with you, I think they may be a bona fide playoff team. I don't think he's gonna play that much though. I don't.
Not only that, everyone on the Warriors has regrets, like very much. Steph Curry, much worse than he was in his prime. Draymond, much worse. Jimmy, much worse. I'm sorry to Warrior fans, but it's just the truth. You know,
hey, you can't just like people say you can't talk about Bron. You can't talk about Warriors fans like that.
You can't
Steph
do that.
Curry like that because these people they really think Steph Curry gonna play forever.
Yeah,
they do. They think he's gonna be around forever. They don't think that Curry's gonna be around for like 2. No, I've actually had conversations like, how much longer? How many more years you think Steph Curry got? I'm hearing 5. I'm like, are you crazy?
I think he got like
5 more years.
2 or 3.
I think he's got 2 more years tops.
Yeah.
That's as far as maybe 3.
Maybe 3. Yeah, I was about to say maybe 3.
I'm like, are you dudes
5,
serious?
5 years is crazy, man.
5 more years? Y'all really
till he's 42.
5 more years?
Till he's 42.
No.
That's even the worst.
Steph
no,
Curry
he's
is not playing
good.
into his 40s like that. That's not
happening.
No way.
Not even LeBron. I don't.
Good to talk to you, brother. I appreciate you.
See you later, Joe.
5 more years for Curry? No way. Hell no, that's not happening. So, absolutely. All right, guys, you know what time it is. It's about that time for me. I got to bounce. It was good to see you guys tonight. Y'all know where to find me at. If I'm not here, I'm on TikTok every morning, 9 a.m. Good Morning NBA. If I'm not there, you can find me on the panel on the Players Choice Network, 11 o'clock to 2 o'clock, Monday to Friday. If I'm not there, I'm right here on Chilltown Hoops, weeknights, right here on the Chilltown Hoops Network, weeknights. Me and my man Tony Tone, we do it on Tuesday night on the Chilltown Hoops and the Sports Fluent Network. We ain't hard to find. On Thursday, me and my man Big Ox, we do it at 4 o'clock on Thursday and at 12 o'clock on Saturday on the Players Choice Network. So I ain't hard to find, guys. I will see you soon. Until then, put on a suit, drink water, don't drink and drive. Hey, man, call your mother. When's the last time you talked to your mother? I just talked to my mother on Sunday. I literally just talked to my mother on Saturday. On Saturday. I just talked to my mother. So I will talk to you guys soon. Until then, put on a suit, drink water, don't drink and drive. Hey, man, call your mother. When last time you talked to your mother? Call your mother. I will talk to you guys soon. But until then, take it light, but take it. Absolutely, man. It was good to see you guys tonight. This was dope. I enjoyed that.